Okay, so this is where we left off, and I think this is a pretty good symbol for my logo, but I just don't, I need to have some text below to kind of explain what the logo is, and that's what I'm hoping with you, that you guys create text to go with the logo. And this is actually going to be for the graphic design program, so because we don't have a logo currently, and I tried to design one last year and it just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, so and then I'm thinking MSU. MSU Northern is so weird because it has that dash in it, and it's just like a weird word to have to work with. But I find if it's all in caps, because if I don't do that, it looks like this, which is okay, but it just, I feel like it needs to all be in caps, unless it was Montana State. And I haven't tried this, but oops. So I mean, either way, there's going to have to be a dash because Montana State University Northern is a dash, and like I don't really want it to be this long, so it just works out better to have it like this. Sorry for the long explanation on that, but it's just kind of a weird word. Sometimes you'll have weird words that you have to deal with in logo design, and that is definitely one of them. So I'm just going to kind of use the text tool over here. Just get everything spelled correctly. Make sure, you know, it's looking good. And then grab your whole thing, and if we go into Align, we can do Align to Artboard. And if I hit this, it'll actually align it horizontally. Oops. I need to do Command G and group all of this together, and then I can align it horizontally to, oh sorry, I'm in Pathfinder, align to the Artboard. Before we had it on align to selection, but right now I wanted to make sure everything is centered within the Artboard. But I think I might actually switch this back because I think I can see myself getting confused, so I'm just going to put it back on align to selection now. But okay, so everything is centered down the middle within the canvas, which is nice, and that means that these two things are totally centered. I've checked over my spelling again, which is a good idea. So now is the time to kind of start exploring some font pairs. I was kind of wondering if like a kind of a script font would work really well for the graphic design program, just to kind of symbolize the creativity aspect of the program. And then MSU Northern can be like more corporate, which would probably be a sans serif type font, or maybe a serif, since I guess MSU Northern's logo uses a serif font, which I'm not hugely fond of. I don't think it's very modern looking, but okay, so we will just start with the graphic design program text first. We can actually go into character and open this up and kind of look around in here, click this down and look through. I can actually, let's see, maybe let's just go to window, character, wherever that's at. Maybe under type and then character. And then we can have that character box here. I'm just going to click out of that. There's also a character box over here in the properties panel, but I guess I'm just old school and I kind of like looking at this for some reason. But you can always use like this area over here, but you always have to kind of go to the more options here, which is kind of annoying when you could also just open up the character box. So we can kind of choose our font here. And I can actually scroll down the list too, and if I have my character box pulled up to the side, you know, I can get a good idea of, actually, that actually looks really good with that graphic. But I don't know symbolically if that actually is working. It's rather kind of dry and lifeless, but I'd have to say the forms are matching the graphic pretty well. That is way... So I can actually see what kind of scripts I have in here. I'm kind of liking this. Is this the capital G? Because I'm not loving that. Almost doesn't look like a capital G. I always use blackjack though. It'd be kind of nice to maybe use something different. Okay, keep going. You know, and if I don't have something in here that I want, I can easily go online and download fonts from other, or we can go into find more. It's activating Adobe fonts. I might need to launch my, okay. So these are Adobe, all the Adobe fonts. We can kind of download them or activate them here really quickly and easily. So I can actually, I think I can look for a font type here. So if we go into this little filter thing, we can actually look for like scripty type fonts. These are more like handwritten, which I don't want. I think I want more of a script font. So I'm going to click on that. And then I can actually kind of go through here, and it's kind of pretty, but it's hard to read. So we want legibility when we make these. So keep that in mind when you're designing. Script can get a little bit too fussy sometimes, so it's kind of hard to find like the right script font. I don't want it to be too fussy. I want it to be like this one might actually be sort of along the lines what I'm looking for. I'm just going to pause it and keep looking because this could take a while. So okay, so I think I've found something that I like, and actually this is a font pair that I've been using on the posters anyway, and it's probably a good idea for me to keep going with it. And also it does look, they look good together. So this is Blackjack, and this is MSU Northern, and I think I got, this is, oh sorry, this is called DIN, condensed bold. I got the condensed version, and I think that's a decent font pair. Go here and go to like font. So this is not from Adobe Fonts. It's actually from Font Squirrel, I believe. This is where I got it. And I'll show you how to find a font. Oh, maybe they didn't have it on this one. But anyway, say that Blackjack was here, and like I like, you know, like let's say I really like this milkshake font. I can go to download, and make sure you go to like, oh, sometimes they don't have the free ones here. Oh, so click through, and then can I just download it from here? You don't want to push download on anywhere that looks too weird. Sometimes this site will take you to weird spots though, and I don't really like this. Maybe this one's not actually free. I don't know. Some of them are weird. But a lot of them, most of them are going to be, you know, directly downloadable like this one was. And then we can go into our downloads folder and find that font. And then this is like the text, you know, that they put in there with it. But all these OTF files, you know, you can just double click on these and then install font. If you have a PC and you're working on a PC, it might be a little bit of a different process than on a Mac, but you can install fonts on a Mac this way. If you guys want to work with fonts, just make sure you end up going to like actual font sites. And if you're not sure about which ones you can actually go to, look up like top free font sites. And like DaFont is a good one, FontSpace. So all of these are legitimate. Don't just go to some random place and start pushing download, because you can get viruses pretty easily these days. So one thing I did do with this text to make it a little bit bolder, since Blackjack doesn't really come in like a bold, is I actually put a stroke around the text, but when it's 1 point, it's like way too much. So you can actually kind of bring it down to like 0.5, and that's kind of a nice, you know, in between basically. So this is looking a little pentagrammy, but I think it's partially because I have, you know, outlines on some of these shapes. But, you know, not too bad, not too bad. Wonder if I did something like that, if that would kind of change it a little bit. Anyway, so I could just try grabbing everything and then changing the stroke on this to be maybe not quite so big. And that might help the pentagramminess, break up the pentagramness a little bit, because I don't want it to look like a pentagram really. Maybe I'll just do a Command Z and then grab this and then kind of bring it down just a little bit. It might help if I combine these two shapes on either side, which I think, and that'll kind of help to further illustrate the leaf shape, hopefully, that I'm going for. I don't know if I should do it there too or not. I mean, I guess it's worth a try, and I can always Command Z if I need to. Let's see if that actually looks better. I think I'm gonna leave it for now. Okay, so enough with that. We got our fonts figured out, which is great. Now we can do a file save as, or no, wait, did I save this yet? So I haven't even saved this yet, which was kind of, I should have done that right away, but file save as, so we're gonna make like in the documents folder, probably should go into our class folder that we make, graphic design 350, graphic design 2, and then I can, you know, make a new folder, graphic design, oops, department logo. Actually, it's not a department, it's a program. Program logo, create. So there we go. Probably put the same thing, but I'm going to put BW on the end and make sure this is an Illustrator document. Push save. This should all be okay. And so we have the black and white version, and then when we get this finalized, I think I'm just going to say this is good, and then I'll do a file, export, or actually no, let's do a file save as, sorry guys, and then we want to make an EPS. So we want a black and white AI file, and then we want an EPS file. If you have stuff on your artboard, like outside of your artboard, you can always check this, use Artboard's box to kind of keep that stuff, you know, out of your export. I don't have anything, so I don't need it. And so I'm going to have a black and white AI file and a black and white EPS file. Okay, and yeah, I think in the next video we'll go over adding color. You might, I guess I'm going to probably be requiring for you guys to do an export as a PNG, which is great for websites because it preserves the transparency. It won't have like a white background like a JPEG will. So just make them out at high resolution, but you can always change these to like 72 if you are actually adding it to a website. And then let's do a file, export as, and we'll do a JPEG as well. So I'm going to have you guys do all 4 file formats. And you might need to check this on. Now it's just up to you whether or not you think you need that. I'll just bring this up to high. We'll just pretend that all of these are for print. But you know, you might make another subfolder within your folder, you know, as a designer, and make it, you know, low resolution images too for like, you know, your website and stuff too. So you might have multiple files like PNGs and JPEGs of like low resolution logos that you have saved out too. But just for our purposes, we're just going to save out those 4 file types, the PNG, the JPEG, EPS, and the AI file, all for the black and white logo. So make sure you have that BW on the end of all of those file names, and then with all the correct file extensions, which it should automatically update when you change the format when you're saving them out. Okay, and then we'll add color in the next video.